So today we're going to do a reaction to a bunch of reactions by Flakko, basically. And what we're talking about is the Lefty gunplay situation. If you're not aware, let me get you hip very quick.
What is the difference between racial grim, racial within right here and out there? Man, LA dog, if you know, you know, and if you don't, you don't. LA, like honestly, me myself personally, I'm not gonna come home and or I'm not gonna let my daughter come home with a black dude. I'm gonna be like, what the you know what I'm saying? And that's just the way it is out here. For my people, and like I'm sure if a black girl came home and with a straight SA dude, they're gonna be like, what the you know what I'm saying? In LA.
So that's basically the premises, but I'm not gonna lie, I really didn't care about that situation. I've seen all types of videos, but Flacco has a lot to say about it, things like this, and this is what pretty much prompted me to do the video.
The fact that black folks are now trying to act like because he has this train of thought that this means he's like a raging racist and he dislikes black folks is just silly. Because black folks are trying to act like this train of thought is a foreign concept to them. Black folks will make you believe with a straight face that if their sister brought home a lefty gunplay, they're not gonna be like, "Hey, yo, what are you doing?" like this, what you doing? At some point, bro, we have to reject this urge to be a victim.
Now, I'm just gonna get this out the way, man. Dude's name is Frederick Jala. I don't know his background. I know he was like a part of all of this. Like he was a part of like some African diaspora community before he got into all of this no jumper shit. When people check his history and stuff like that, and he really loves Umar and what's the dude's name? Because he actually spoke to Tariq Nasheed, who was the person who created the term ADOS, which is American Descendants of Slaves. And he kind of abandoned that and moved to FBA, which is Foundational Black Americans. So this is going to be that type of video because as far as him, Frederick Jala, he is not a foundational Black American. I get, in the Black diaspora, we're all Black, but one of the issues is, and this doesn't really happen with Jamaicans, so much, maybe Haitians a little bit. I don't see Jamaicans do this, but it happens with people from the UK, typically, who are African, who are of African descent, and sometimes may even be like Jamaican or Haitian, some type of Caribbean, or in some cases, people who actually live or are from the continent of Africa and also African immigrants and things like that. There's a disconnect that I'm not going to get into too crazy, but they didn't go through what we as foundational Black Americans have went through. They don't come from where we come from as far as the generational poverty and the generational trauma and oppression. So they can't relate. So when he says we got to stop looking at ourselves as victims, listen, I'm sure he's, heard a lot of things, studied a lot of things, but this is the one thing he can't do. He can't relate to it. He can't relate to it, and most of these people can't, the people that I mentioned. So therefore, it's hard to even have a conversation about the shit without them being condescending, without them understanding, and without them saying a lot of white people talking points. So with that, I just wanted to get that out the way. That's where a lot of this shit is coming from. And that's why it bothers me. And even then, it wouldn't really matter if he was like even, because Anton Daniels is a foundational Black American. And he has some of the same types of views as him. But we label that a little different. I'm not going to go that deep. So what I want to do is go around the end of the video, because I could go about this all day. But let's go around the end of the video and watch him react to T-Rail and them talking about this. And I'm going to point out my specific problems with this.
So because I truly didn't understand where the outrage was coming from, I wanted to hear another opinion. So I tapped into my brother, T-Rail's live stream back on Fig. And somebody else was on there giving their reason why they didn't like what Lefty Gunplay had to say. So I tapped in, and hopefully, y'all can hear a second opinion, right, that differs from mine. And hopefully I could, try to respond back to or clarify whatever he thinks, all right? So let's get into it.
I think it's my thing about T Rail. Look, on gangster, we was just at G Perico concert. G Perico was headlining. I don't know their business, never asked G Perico about it, but being that G Perico headlining and being that y'all was just the artist coming up, like the homie from Trouble too, Tiny Face, all them. Yeah. They was like they all came out before the headliner. Right. So like I'm pretty sure G Perico plugged you into that. So this just like my thing about it. Like, bro, you not a Chicano rapper. You a rapper, so basically, that's black culture. You feel me? Like a lot of things that we abandoned, people have picked up and kept along with it. I can get into that, but I ain't gonna go all into that. But yeah, I just understand that him saying his daughter coming home with a black dude, he wouldn't understand it, but he tried to but that's just like to understand if I came home with a black girl and her daddy from 60s, it's not okay. But what if your daughter came home with a black dude who didn't gang bang, not from the streets, none of that shit, a square nigga in school doing his thing? Why would you have a problem with that?
It's the same reason that a lot of black folks' parents and grandparents would tell them, don't bring no white girl home or don't bring no white boy home, right?
So I'm going to stop it right there because it's not the same thing. And I'm going to tell you why. First off, between black men and white women, there's a history there. Let's just start there. There's a history going all the way back to Emmett Till, because I could tell you, oh yeah, it goes back to slavery and stuff too, but we'll just go to Emmett Till because that's a very popular, event. It's a very well-known event. And even in contemporary times, you have black men who are in college, typically athletes and stuff like that, who get fake rape cases. And 99.99999% of the time, the accuser is a white woman. So there is a very predatory history there where they play the damsel in distress, and either the racist system or racist people come in and handle the situation. Even then, there was a black guy who had a Mormon girlfriend. He went away with her to a whole nother state for like Thanksgiving or something like that, never came back, disappeared, cold case. So that's the type of stuff that not only white people do, but that's the type of danger that black men are in when they mess with white women. So we're not going to act like there's a history there between Mexicans and blacks to where it's the same, or the black guys are just killing Mexicans up crazy, or just black men are just so fucking horrible with the history. It's not the same. It's not remotely the same. I could go deeper, but he's going to say more.
It's the same reason why Dr. Umar Johnson get praised and applauded by black folks for preaching anti-interracial relationships, right? It's the same reason why black Twitter is crucifying any millionaire or black athlete who has a white girlfriend, right? I'm not saying the mindset is okay. I'm just saying if somebody has a preference, what's wrong with that? If somebody would prefer their daughter bring home somebody who looks like them, what's the problem with that? How does that correlate to them now being racist? Like how do we even make that jump, right? Or how do we even make an issue with that? I feel like as black folks, bro, like we should worry about what took place in our community first. Like we should clean up what we got going on first, and then try to like police other people's preferences and speech.
So he said a lot there. Let's talk about Dr. Umar first. Now, this is the thing. Before we continue, yeah, I'm talking about this stuff. Yeah, I know certain things, but I'm not against interracial dating at all. I'm not against it. Let me just get that out the way in case you thought I was like, you must date a black. No. That's not me. But to act like there's not an issue with what Lefty Gunplay is saying, and it's not racial or racist, it's ridiculous. But we'll get to that around the end. We gotta chop up some of what Flakko is saying. So first off, where Dr. Umar is coming from is not a place of, because this is the thing, you don't even understand where Lefty Gunplay is coming from because he didn't explain where he's coming from and exactly why. He didn't. Dr. Umar says that we should not do interracial dating, and he criticizes people all the time, as far as black people, because what he believes in is Pan-Africanism, all black, all around the world, networking, building together, and rebuilding the black community into something stronger, to have a stronger foundation. So he believes in unity amongst us on all fronts. He believes in black households and things of that nature. Why is that important? Because we are down fucking bad. He says, and this is what he believes. He believes that, if, and a lot of people follow him on this belief, if you have somebody who is black and they come into wealth or they earn their wealth and stuff like that, them getting a white woman takes money out of the black community. That money could have been going to a black woman. They could have made a black family, and then it would have a black impact on society and stuff like that, because they're not going to have the biases that white people have and stuff like that. So that is the significance of that. He explains it in detail, and it is not something that is malicious. It is not something that is hateful, prejudiced, or racist. We are a oppressed people as far as foundational black Americans. It's 100% true. I'm not going to get into how or nothing like that, because if you don't believe that, your mind's already made up. Let's be honest. So with that being said, his whole standpoint is to strengthen our community. So let's get that out the way. That's done. Now let's talk about what's wrong with the air quote preference. Now this is the first thing. Don't you think it's kind of weird to have a preference for another individual as far as who they date? We'll start there. I'll tell you the only person it might not be weird for. It might not be weird for the dad and the mom. If you're the brother and you're concerned, that might be kind of weird. If you're the cousin, it gets weirder. If you're a motherfucker who has nothing to do with this motherfucker, if you're not family, if you're the ex-boyfriend or some shit like that, like, how is that something that you are even concerned with? That is fucking weird. So we get that out the way. Now, this is the second thing. As a parent, especially as a dad with a daughter, I get it, because you want to be protective of your daughter. Now, let's think about this. You don't want your daughter, as a dad, to date somebody that's going to be a detriment to her. And that's how come you are protecting her. And that is how come dads do weird shit, like fucking take pictures with a shotgun with the kid that's taking their daughter to prom. Just weird ass nut shit like that, because a lot of these dudes be hoes, but we not going that deep. So you want to protect her from harm. If she comes in with a guy that is a bad boy, a thug, or something like that, it is completely understandable for you to have a preference against that. If she comes in with a guy that is a complete bum mooching off her, it is completely understandable to have a preference against that. It's completely understandable. Now, because people are slow, let me give you why those two are understandable. You, as a parent, would want your daughter to have a man that can provide for her. That's why a broke man that's mooching is going to be bad. You, as a father, want somebody who is not going to be a negative influence on your daughter and get them in prison, get them in trouble, or get them shot, beat up, stabbed, anything like that. You don't want to have to come and put bail on her books or nothing like that. You don't want to have to bail her out of jail. When she's dating a thug, those are likely possibilities. So that's the danger you are protecting her from. Now, the guy in the clip, he mentioned gangbangers. Black gangbangers would fall under that. I get it. After that, he mentions square dudes, which Flakko completely just doesn't acknowledge because he just seems to be lacking the capability to understand this shit. He just can't understand it. So the question you have to ask, because again, the reason Umar is saying what he's saying is because of strengthening the black community and things like that. When we talk about white women and black men, white women have been a detriment. So that there's some danger there. And a mom, typically a black mom, would be the one to be on the lookout for that and to be weary of that. When we look at black men, specifically in this case with Mexican women in LA, what the fuck is he protecting them from? What is this preference? What is the purpose of this preference? So strictly because of his race, that is grounds to question her, be like, what the fuck you doing, etc., etc. Do you not see where that is absolutely fucking racist? Because what you have to do, he mentioned a square, somebody who has a job, and you have to assume the worst when you see a black guy, especially if he looks non-threatening and all of that shit. And even then, you might not be assuming the worst. You might be like, well, he is a square. I just don't want you with him because I don't like black people and I don't want my bloodline mixed with no nigga blood. That is why it's racist. That is where the difference is. And he is not doing any level of critical thinking. And I don't think that he's capable for the reason that I mentioned earlier, the bias that he has as a non-foundational black American. But let's continue. Because he also says some other shit about, oh, we need to sort out our own problems. You don't give a fuck about our problems. You make fun of gangbangers every day. That's what you make a living off of. And then get on the phone with these niggas. That shit is crazy. But that's what you do. Let's continue.
It's a lot of motherfuckers that think like that. Not only Hispanic motherfuckers, but black motherfuckers too. Because you got Dr. Umar, who preaches that bringing home a white woman, blacks, it's not cool.
Blacks, we in our lane. We not banging Chicano rap. We not banging mariachi music. None of that. We in our lane. Like, we soulful people. You know, we very accepting. And that.
Now you see why people don't take black folks seriously. This man just stated, oh, when black folks do it like Dr. Umar Johnson, when black folks have the exact same rhetoric as Lefty Gunplay, it's okay because black folks stay in their own lane and black folks don't do like mariachi bands and black folks don't do Mexican stuff, but black folks do country music. And Dr. Umar Johnson is saying that black folks should not, you know, date white folks, right? Like it's literally at some point, bro, like we got to just look within ourselves. Like, homie just stated, hey, what Lefty Gunplay said is bad. What black folks said is good because black folks don't make Hispanic music. All
right, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet on this first part. T-Rail, Smack, and the other individual who I do not know, who is either gang affiliated or a gangster himself, but it's a room of gangsters, bro. I don't expect them, especially when you know what gangbanging does to the black community, I don't expect them to be the most educated on black issues and give good points or nothing like that. So that whole last point, just throw it in the fucking trash. We're not even going to address it. It is what it is, man. That shit was cool. But let's talk about Lefty Gunplay because Flakko thinks nothing is wrong with what Lefty Gunplay said or nothing like that. So I've already went over the issue as far as how it's racist. Let's talk about this black culture shit. Let's talk about it very quickly. Lefty Gunplay, he said that Lefty Gunplay is not a Chicano rapper. I've watched other videos. He's not from the south side of LA. He's from somewhere in LA County where it's a mostly Mexican, like, you know, population and stuff like that, et cetera, et cetera. Let's go back to the foundational understanding that I gave to you. The foundational understanding is if you are questioning, if you have a preference for somebody else, your daughter or something like that, for the man that they date, what is that preference based on? What is the reason behind that preference? We already laid out all the other ones. I don't have to go deep again. This is racism. Underneath why you don't want your daughter dating black men is something, it's going to be something racist. You're assuming the worst. You don't like it. And the only thing, it is based on skin. As far as the top layer, it's based on skin. But then when you go under that, what do you associate the skin with and stuff like that? That's what it comes down to. It's a complete difference. And understand this, because some people are fucking slow. And I don't know if he's slow like this as far as Frederick Jala. I don't know if he's slow like this. But if you as an individual don't want to date white women, black women, fucking Asian women or whatever, that's a preference for you. And this is the thing about it being a preference for you. Attraction is personal at that point. If you are a white woman and you don't want to date black men because they are not physically attractive to you, that is not racist. That is not racist. If you are a Mexican woman and you don't want to date white dudes or you don't want to date Asians because they are not physically attractive to you, that's not racist. That is your actual preference. That is cool. Now, if you go out and you start saying, man, black people is ugly, like that's racist. It's cool to feel that way personally, as far as your personal preference. But to put that out there is a whole different thing. It's a narrative. That's a whole different thing. You as a father are not getting fucked through your daughter's coochie by the black man. That's not what this is. So it's a completely different thing. So let's just get that out the way for the fucking super slow motherfuckers who just don't get that. Because I'm sure somebody doesn't fucking get a personal preference as far as who you're dating versus who someone else is dating, because what they eat don't make you shit. All right, so now that we got that out the way, what Lefty Gunplay is doing is he is participating in black culture. He is profiting from black culture with this rap shit. Make no mistake, I don't give a fuck what you done heard. Oh, it was in the Bronx and so many people were a part of the creation of hip hop. Hip hop was created by a black man. It was built by black people. Yeah, there may have been some other people there, but as far as hip hop, it's been dominated by black people as well. We are the taste and culture makers of hip hop. It is black culture is a tremendous part of hip hop. The Beastie Boys were Jewish. They were a part of the early hip hop and stuff like that. Why don't you see a tremendous influence? Like, I mean, a tremendous ripple of the Beastie Boys influence running through hip hop. Because hip hop is some black shit. That's what it is. It's not debatable. So let's just get that out the way. He's participating in black culture. The guy just mentioned, he's chopping it up with all these black people, networking and really boosting his career through these black individuals. So if it's cool for you to partake in black culture, right? You're partaking in black culture. You're profiting from black culture. You are also, taking advantage of people who are helping you elevate your rap career. And they are black. He came and sat down in that room with T-Rail and them because he knew it would be a good look for his career. If you were doing all this and benefiting from black people so much, how the fuck are you racist to the point where your daughter can't date a square black guy? I understand a gangbanger. I understand a gangbanger completely. But a square black guy, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. This is the other thing I want to get out the way. Because, yeah, you do see a lot of Dr. Umar. You do see a lot of black women on motherfucking, you know, whatever. But I'll keep it so real with you, man. When it comes to black men, we really don't be giving too much of a fuck who dates what or nothing like that. A lot of the dudes that you see who be like, oh, man, he's with a white girl. These motherfuckers be trying to get black coochie. They be trying to pander. That's all that be 99% of the time. When a white chick or when a white dude gets with a black woman, yeah, you'll see some comments on the internet and stuff like that, but it's not nowhere near as crazy as when a black guy gets with a fucking a white woman. Black women go crazy because they have a whole thing that we're not going to get into. But for the most part, when you see a white guy with a black woman, we don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck, man. So that whole like, oh, man, it's the same. Like, no, it's not, dog. We really don't be giving a fuck. Man, you know how many fucking white chicks get taken to family barbecues and shit like that by fucking black dudes and stuff like that, or even some white dudes and stuff. Like, black people are actually some of the most accepting people, and we fucking know this. I'm not about to go deep on that either because this is a long video already. But listen, as far as Lefty Gunplay, what this makes him, being that he is a part of the culture, profiting from the culture, and also, you know, trying to take advantage of opportunities and people within the culture that are black, that makes him a culture vulture, being that he does not like black guys with, you know, a female in his family. If his daughter or a female in his family comes home with a black woman or a black man, he's going to tweak out. That's undoubtedly fucking racist. It's undoubtedly fucking racist. Just acknowledge it for what it is and we could move on with our day. But no, fucking this guy on the screen, this guy, when it comes to all the black shit, he is just one of the fucking worst. I can't lie. But I think I said enough, man. You get the point. I'm done. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Comment Vinny Vici if you made it this far, dog. I'll catch y'all, man. I appreciate you. Put a thumbs up on the video as well if you liked it. If you didn't, I don't care. I'll catch y'all.